Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views Show. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber. And today we have with us Miss Summer Moore.
Thank you.
City Manager.
It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm happy to have you, ma'am. I love doing this with you every month.
I do too.
I missed you last month.
I know. I'm glad we were able to get our Assistant City Manager and Fire Chief, Mr. Josh Farmer, here with us. But we do appreciate the opportunity to partner with the Chamber and be able to get these news outdates out to our residents. So thank you for hosting this show.
Absolutely. And hey, it's July. We made it. Budget's done. Now we get to start on next year, right?
We are excited. Budget's done. We're already planning for next year.
Of course we are. Because if we weren't, what would we be doing?
That's exactly right.
I know you have tons of updates because it is July and it's a new fiscal year and a lot of the funds are coming in for things and we're doing a lot of things. So let's just get to it because I think we have a pretty meaty show today. We want to cover it. So one of the first things that we're going to talk about, Chief Farmer talked about like a lot of the public works stuff since that's in his role and there's some transition. So let's talk about transition. Let's talk about those public works projects and what that kind of feeds into an update that you guys just put out this week.
That would be perfect. So we are going through a transitional period. Our Public Works Director, Mr. Josh Beck, he got a great opportunity with the City of Winston-Salem. So he took that opportunity, I believe it was mid-May. So we are very fortunate. Many of our viewers may remember Chief David Bracken, who had over 35 years of service with the City of Reidsville as our fire chief. During Chief Bracken's tenure with the city, he had served as an interim public works director and an interim city manager. So made the phone call to Chief Bracken. He has been so kind to pick up that phone call and he is currently serving again as our interim public works director.
I told him, I said, they're never going to let you retire completely. And he was like, it's okay. He was like, I like it.
So we're really excited for that. So that's helped with some of the transition. We have started advertising for our next public works director. So if you are interested or you know anyone that's interested, please reach out to the City of Reidsville, to our HR department with Miss Leanne Basinger. All that information is available on our website, and just look at your job description. You may be interested or you may know someone. So that job will be open till filled. What we also are doing to bring back to help with some of the workload, many of our viewers may remember Mr. Lindsey Tuttle. Lindsey Tuttle is serving as the Assistant Public Works Director. He had a long tenure with the City of Reidsville with over 25 years of service. He was instrumental in our downtown streetscape, our all-inclusive park. So we're really excited to welcome Lindsey back to our team to help us through this transitional period. So we're very excited about that. We're very blessed to be able to have those two individuals who are willing to come back and give even more dedication and support to Team Reidsville.
Let's be honest. Are we not excited that Lindsey's back just in time for all the decorating?
We're so excited. We're so excited. Lindsey is a visionary. I can't wait to see what he has planned for fall. He's the type of teammate where you can ask him to do anything and he's always got brilliant ideas.
He figures it out.
He figures
every
it out.
time.
So we're so excited with Lindsey to be back. Also excited to help him with phase 2 of Lake Reidsville and the campground to get his thoughts and expertise on, where we should look at primitive camping, where we should look at possible cabins or tiny homes. So we're just really excited, with change, there's also opportunity. And I think that's our biggest learning tool right now is just taking advantage of the opportunities that we have with our teammates who have come back to join our team as we go through this transitional period. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, and planning this transition in too, and I know we've got some things to talk about. We want to tee up our September event, but that's transitioning. So
planning is another one that it's like you said in a transitional period, but again, we're very excited. I think this goes to show, we have really been focused on succession planning internally. One of the city's biggest asset are employees, and we have to invest in our teammates to prepare them for, their current jobs and future jobs. And I think that's what makes Reidsville unique is we are trying to invest heavily in succession planning, and our planning and community development department's a great example of that right now. Jason Harden, who was our community development director over planning, he got a great opportunity with Guilford County. He left the city as a teammate back in May. But we had Ms. Drew Bigelow, who's been an employee with the City of Reidsville for over 2 years, who had been serving as a planner, and she's a great internal candidate that was just promoted to the Director of Planning and Development for the City of Reidsville. So we're excited to see where she can go with that role. Again, that's a great example of succession planning. She was actually presented at Council Tuesday night for the first time as acting in that new role. She did an exceptional job. She knocked it out of the park. And with her knowledge and expertise, we're just excited to watch her continue to grow. And we're so thankful that she chose Reidsville to grow with her career.
I think it's awesome. She was a rock star in Leadership Rockingham, and I just got to know her so much through that. And she's not afraid to tell you what she's thinking, and I think that's so great because she's got really great ideas, and but also willing to hear the constructive, like, you know, we've had multiple conversations where she's had ideas and I've had ideas, and it's like, oh, and then like they came together, and I just love her. I think she's phenomenal.
Her customer service is absolutely superior. She, you know, unfortunately sometimes, especially in local government, we're so restricted because of state building code, because of zoning ordinances, that we can't move on. But Drew is a great teammate who can identify maybe some problems that we're having, whether it's in building code or it's in our zoning code, and she will try and work through that with the resident or builder. And if it's something she can't work through, she's been great to bring that to City Council and get their thoughts on, is this something you want to look at changing? So I think that's you know, that's a very special technique that she has, is to be such customer service oriented, because unfortunately so many times in that field you are so restricted because of zoning regulations and building code. So to have someone in that mindset who's willing to look at alternative ways to make something work, I think speaks volumes for her style of leadership.
Yeah, I think so too, because we've got to transition from, you're being very kind, restrictive, right? But you have to say no. Your department, your thing have to say no. But what if it's not no, but,
exactly,
or no, what if, you know, and that's where you have your team transition into, and it's going to make a world of difference. And I'm so excited to see it.
No, we agree 100%, because I think that's the hardest thing, particularly in that department, is a lot of times it is a no, and instead of no and citing statute, say no, but, or no, we could look at this. And I think that's the biggest thing, you know, Reidsville's been trying to capitalize on and move away from, is just trying to be more transparent of why things can't be done or could be done, but trying to be more customer focused on when we talk to individuals about that.
I agree. Well, speaking of all of that, you guys put out a press release this week and announced some upgrades to your Connect app. So we've been talking about public works, and we've been talking about planning and all the things. So let's talk about that.
So thank you for that. And I brought some flyers to drop off for you guys.
Okay.
So we're really excited. Sherelle Williams and her team in IT, along with Angela Stadler, our city clerk, has done a great job in revamping our Connect app. So it's the same name, but more features. So one of the things that's really unique with our Connect app is you can go on there if you've got, you know, a concern about high grass, or you have noticed a pothole, or you want to report anything. It's a great way to have that connection through an app on your phone, because right now with growing technology, so many people want that at their fingertips. They don't want to make that phone call because it may be after hours. So it's a great tool to be able to have this. But if you're interested in the app, you can learn more at reidsvillenc.gov, and I'll drop this off if you guys don't mind to share with your Facebook page, and then I know with Roy with his information, and then all this information is available on Team Reidsville and City of Reidsville page. But our Connect app is a great customer service focus, because what happens internally, so let's say that you had a concern about high grass in your neighborhood. You go in there, you fill out that form then goes to that department head, which in this case would be Miss Drew. Drew then is able to work with code enforcement to go and evaluate that concern that was reported, and then we respond back via email, which goes back to your Connect app.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's exciting. I mean, it's been a great app, but it's nice for a refresh.
You need a refresh.
Kind of just letting people know again that it's out there. So we'll be happy to continue to share that.
Thank you for that.
It should be in today's email, because it came out as a press release. So we are just real excited about that. But gosh, let's keep rolling because we have lots to talk about today. I know that we had some terrible storms this week. One of those storms postponed our reside in Reidsville, and I know that we're working on trying to find a new date. So obviously we'll publish that we'll share when you publish that. We're happy to be a part of that. But also these storms have brought up the idea behind Code Red because people just don't understand that, especially the flooding and the trees down and the roads closed. I personally have the Code Red for both my home and my work address, which is possible. It's a really cool website. It is statewide. And so tell us a little bit about that. I know you have to go to the website. It's been a while since I've done it, but I remember you go to the website and you kind of fill out your info, and you obviously with anything you have to click to subscribe, but you have to put your info in there. So tell us about that a little bit.
No, thank you for that. So Code Red, that is, we struggle not only as a city, but I know a lot of organizations do on how do you get messaging out there to the general public, because we don't have a daily or weekly newspaper anymore. So we rely heavily on social media, and a lot of our citizens, they don't utilize social media. So it's trying to make sure that we're getting to them every avenue we can, specifically in emergencies, whether it's weather related or water issues that we've experienced in the last month. So the Code Red is very important because we can reach masses that way versus if you don't have access to Facebook or social media. So with Code Red, one of the biggest things that I do want, and I brought flyers to leave you as well, but to sign up for Code Red, we just ask, it's as easy as texting Team Reidsville, or the number is 99411, and it will automatically set you up on how to go through that process. But again, you can register on your smartphone, text Team Reidsville, all lowercase, or you can text 99411. Now, if you're still not comfortable doing that on your phone, citizens, please feel free to call City Hall at 336-349-1035, and we can get you signed up as well. So it's whatever you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable setting it up on your smartphone, we have ways to do so, or feel free to call City Hall and we will get you signed up as well. But Code Red is such an importance to be able to communicate with residents. The example, I know I wasn't able to attend the June show, and I think Assistant Manager Chief Farmer talked about this, but we did have that major water issue back mid-May. And that was an unusual event because we didn't have a lot of storms that evening. We had a very minor storm, and it was a matter of a tree had ended up falling on a power line across town that for literally seconds impacted our main power feed at the water plant. So we went down for like literally a blink. For anyone who's at home, like your TV may go off and come back on, or just that little quick incident that may occur with a power blimp. That's what happened at the water plant. We never lost power. It was just that unforeseen triggering event. And what that does is when that takes a system down, even if it's for a split second, it will cause surges in the line. And that's exactly what happened back in May when we had to do the bull water advisory. A surge was caused in the line that forced water out, and that caused one of the main breaks that you saw down here close to Farmer's Table that caused us to have to do the bull water advisory. So with the bull water advisory, one thing to note on that is a state requirement that we have to do that. Anytime we lose pressure in the lines or our tanks go below a certain level, we are required to issue that bull water advisory. So that is something, some people, when is it going to be lifted? When is it going to be lifted? We don't control that. That is controlled by the state, because once we're able to gather the chemicals and be able to test that, it then takes anywhere from 24 to 48 hours for the state to give us those results back. Then when we get the results back to make sure there's nothing in the water from the bull water advisory, we can lift that restriction. So, that's just one thing to note is, the city takes that very seriously. We have to coordinate with the state, and they're great to work with. It's just sometimes those test results, they're not going to come back within hours. It's going to be a minimum of 24 to 48 hours. So that is a good, importance of Code Red, because that was our easiest way of mass communication to get to you. Also, if we've learned a lot from some of the hurricanes that impacted Western North Carolina. The tragedy with the flooding that just happened in Mebane is, sometimes our internet may be down. So you may not can go online and get that social media impact. And that's why Code Red is so important, because you at least have that phone source in your hand to get that phone call or message to where you may not have access to internet. So that's why I just encourage all of our residents, please be proactive. The city tries to be as proactive as possible, but we need your help too in signing up for those alerts.
I think too, people need to share with other people. I just had a friend recently, and I would have thought, she worked for the school system, and I would have thought that she was signed up for Code Red, and she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She's like, I should probably be on that. And I'm like, you definitely should. So I think too, the more we can share it and try to get higher organizations to top down, share that info. So we'll definitely take a look at that, because I think we need to. I've had it for years. I mean, when it first came out, I'm also nosy. So I was like, I have to be on this, because I want to get the message. It's like, so I just think it's really important. So we will help share that. And thank you for bringing the flyers.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness. So speaking of, one of the things that we've been talking about, and we've teased up a little bit, let's talk about this UDO. We have this event coming up September 16th, our Java and jargon, making the UDO make sense. And so we've had a lot of discussion with your team around, what's the difference, and making people understand building code being state versus, the zoning pieces, and what the UDO is, what it isn't, what it's going to address, what it won't address. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's great. And again, I appreciate your partnership and your leadership on that, because you've been a great resource for us, because so many times, within any organization, you get comfortable within your organization and you don't know exactly what the public is needing to know. So you bring that aspect to our meetings as, no, you need to break this down more. So we appreciate that partnership. But, the UDO is something we've been talking about since 2022, and the need to reevaluate that. So we're really excited to partner with the Chamber and some local business owners to present, the Java and Jargon series that will help kind of inform our citizens, along with our maybe builders who are residential or commercial. And we want to hear from you. Like, this is our current UDO. This is what we're seeing that needs to be changed. But we also need you to understand there's a difference between building code and zoning code, and how that applies to the UDO. And I hope that's one of our goals from where we met yesterday, was to be able to explain some of the differences. I know one of the things you and we talked about yesterday as a team was the conception about these architectural drawings or engineered drawings. That's more going to be following building code, to where your UDO and zoning is looking more at lot setbacks, curb and gutter for roads. It's going to be looking at more of what zoning impacts businesses versus building code. And I think that's one of the biggest things we have to make sure we're communicating, is how the UDO impacts both residential and commercial growth, versus what is building code and restrictions versus UDO and zoning.
Absolutely. And I think that our goal is always just to help you all spread the message, to educate people, because so many times, I mean, for me, it's just as much educating my people, my staff, my board, my ambassadors. Like, I want them to be brand ambassadors for these things that are happening. And we talk about doing business in Reidsville and owning business in Reidsville and growing business in Reidsville. So how do we do that? And I want to be sure that we're up to date on all the things that we need to know. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, call 1065. Like, like that's, I don't try to make guesses, because as Drew has told me so many times, each person's like, we can talk about examples all day long. She's like, but each one's going to be different. And I understand that. And so, you did such a great job with this team that you've put together, and hiring Chase, who is somebody to, that Montana can send people to, Robin can send people to, I can send people to. Chase can hold their hand and take them to Drew, and take them to Public Works, and take them to wherever they need to go to get things done. So it's coming along so beautifully, and I think we are really excited to see where some of this stuff goes.
No, we're excited about that, because the biggest thing with the UDO that we want to stress to our citizens and our developers is, It's not an attempt to make things more restrictive here. It is an attempt to evaluate what our current ordinances and codes are in reference to the Unified Development Ordinance, and how do we make sure we're showing we're open for business. We're willing to look at some of what other cities and municipalities are doing. Anyone who's attended or viewed the city council meetings the last couple months, we've had some really tough, some zoning, rezonings going on. But that is what, being creative and looking at that, like such as road requirements and road width, the city is 35 feet, where if you look at some other municipalities, they're right now going anywhere from 23 to 25. So is that something we need to look at? And that's a great example of what your UDO and some of your standards can look at, are those developmental standards. So I think that's the biggest difference, is building code and then current development, because they're similar, but they're different when it comes to the UDO. And the UDO, it is not a fix everything. I can promise you that we will probably fix stuff within the first couple months. If we get to the point of adoption, it is a living, breathing document, much like a budget, and that's how your UDO should be treated. And I think that was the biggest thing that our mayor and council saw, was the UDO didn't need to just be something that was piecemealed since the 80s. It needs to be evaluated annually and often and re-examined to make sure we're following what our other neighbors are doing as far as growth patterns and setback sizes.
Absolutely. And Reidsville has changed so much in the last 5, 10, 15 years. And we are going to see so many changes in the next 5, 10, 15 years. So I think it's absolutely time. And I actually, I joked, I made a reference with one of our other guests about how you've just kind of come in with your magic wand and you're like, and we need to update this and this and this. And I'm like, and we're just going down the line, and she's just making things happen. So
it's been a great team effort. We've got a good team. We've got good partnerships in the community, and we appreciate our community understanding why we need to look at these different rules and regulations we have in place.
Yeah, well, it doesn't take rocket science to just kind of take a step back and look around and see the changes. So I'm just always excited, but I think I'm always amazed every time I hear the next new thing that's happening. And I'm like, man, like, who knew there was more? Like, then there's just always more, and it's always changing and evolving. But that's really, I think, in local government, where we need to be. Like, you can't ever just stop. Like, it's always going to be. It takes so long sometimes for things to change. Like, if you're not already being proactive, that succession plan that you're talking about, because you turn around and that person's gone, because they're retired, or they've found a better opportunity, or they've had a life change, or, and so being prepared for those kinds of things, it matters.
And I think you nailed it too, is just looking at ways where we can, maybe need to take a step back and just evaluate things. One of the things that was council's priority this year that you probably witnessed Tuesday night was their rules of procedure. So their rules of procedure, council never formally adopted rules of procedure. They had always operated under Robert's Rules of Order, which is perfectly fine, nothing wrong with what they were doing at all. But to be able to adopt formal rules of procedure, as we did a couple months ago, because now you'll notice like there's a formal adoption of the agenda each time. There, you've noticed public session going from the very end of the agenda to almost the very front, because I know that was something that council had expressed some concerns to me about, and I certainly understand them, is, you go through, they're expected to vote on all these items under new business, and then you don't get to hear from the public till the very end. So you've been forced to vote on all these items before you've got to hear from the public, unless it's a public hearing. So I think Tuesday night was a great example of our mayor and council seeing the need to change that and follow a different format to where, we did have a lot of public hearings, but your public comment was right after that, before new business. It wasn't at the very end. So I think that's a great form of transparency, and trying just to be more proactive in our communities and making sure our citizens feel like they are being heard.
I think that is so important. It's been talked about for years, and to finally adopt it is amazing. We don't have a lot of time left, so what else do we need to cover today? There's so much going on.
let's maybe talk about a little bit about our summer concert series. So just a couple fun activities coming up. We've got our summer concert next weekend. We're preparing for Fab Festival, which we're really excited about, October 18th, Saturday, October 18th. So we're super excited about that. The city's got some great partners in that with RDC, the chamber, other members of the community. So just, now we're kind of starting to focus. We've got through budget. We're kind of in the heat of summer at the moment, but we're going to look at trying to start getting prepared for fall and all the fun activities that come with fall. We've got some great plans for our concerts, for Fab Festival. We'll be starting on looking at some of our fall decorations coming up. So we're just really excited. It's kind of a seasonal change. Spring is kind of budget for the city of Reidsville. Summer's kind of lake activities and events, and then fall's just kind of starting to literally fall back and bring some nice activities for our residents to enjoy.
Speaking of lake, oh my gosh, so many cool things happening. Talk to us about that.
So we're really excited about the lake. We've done a lot of renovations out there. We've got some great activities planned. So really looking forward to capitalize on that. And then as we learned Tuesday night, Lake Hunt. So we're really excited that we've learned Lake Hunt is not a primary classified water source, which is actually positive for us because now we can look at possibly swimming and recreational activities at Lake Hunt. So that's something we're really excited. Blake Franchi, who's amazing. He's our water plant ORC, but he does so much more. He's very proactive. He did a lot of research through the state to see what can we bring to Lake Hunt. So we've got some really excited things we're looking forward to talking to council about this upcoming year to maybe try and start capitalizing even more at Lake Hunt and include more swimming activities now that we know we can.
I know, that's so exciting. I mean, I saw something about that again the other day, and people were just like, "Oh, they just don't understand."
It's hard.
It is hard. It's a hard concept for people because they're like, "Well, boats do more damage than swimming," and I'm like, "I can't disagree with that." But your hands are tied until things. So that was a really just like revolutionary piece of information on Tuesday. So I love that they made the motion to explore it. I cannot wait to find out what
We're really excited. And I do appreciate that. Like I agree. I think council agrees, staff agrees. Like it is such a weird thing. You can boat, you can ski, you can tube, all at Lake Reidsville, but you can't swim. We don't disagree with anyone that's strange, but we've got that state file, and it is against state regulations to allow swimming in our water source. So we don't disagree with the public. It is a very hard one for us to sit up here and tell you that. It's awkward, but we can't risk losing that water source designation.
Absolutely not, because it's everything. And there's so many pieces and levels to that. Selling water to other municipalities, and the potential maybe to sell more. Who knows? Like there's so much out there. But I love the piece about the lake. Oh my gosh! And let's talk about this. We just did the ribbon cutting for the Rainbow Bridge.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And Aiden, who was a huge instrumental part of this, he was working on his Eagle Scout project. The Rainbow Bridge was something that actually a citizen had brought to the city a couple years ago about the one that was in Lake Lure. And the Rainbow Bridge is a beautiful, seriously a color of a rainbow on the bridge, and it's a great place to go and remember your pets, because so many times pets become our family members. They're part of our families every day. So the Rainbow Bridge was a great way to be able to provide an avenue for those who have lost a beloved cat, dog, any type of animal, and go and just remember them in a peaceful setting at Lake Reidsville. We just installed a beautiful rainbow poem that I encourage everyone to go out there and look at, read, visit. Tells you a little bit more about the Rainbow Bridge project, but it was just perfect timing. Our Eagle Scout Aiden reached out to us, said, "Hey, I need a project." And we said, "What about this?" He fell in love with it, so he nailed it out the park. So we were so excited to be able to do that ribbon cutting last week because it is something near and dear to a lot of residents to have a place of solace to go and remember their beloved pets.
Yeah,
and you can hang your collars, like if you want to. We've got some wiring out there to where if you want to hang something to memorize, put a memorandum of your pet, we've got that out there for you. So please go take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's so sweet. Who knew, man? man, it went viral. Like the fur babies, everybody was just like, oh, it's so sweet. We love it. It's so beautiful. But it's just a really peaceful part of the park. I've always loved that part of the park. And so we've actually done some different photo shoots and video shoots. I remember way back with Miss Judy and a good friend of mine who it was Wrangler at the time. We did a photo shoot out there and kind of featured the lake. And I remember standing there that day and I was like, it's so quiet right here. Like I just love that little piece.
It is.
Well, Miss Summer, we are out of time. So
thank you for everything.
Absolutely. Is there anything we didn't cover that you want to say really quickly?
Not that I can think of now. Just encourage all of our viewers and listeners, if you ever need anything, again, please feel free to email me, smore@reidsvillenc.gov, or you can call me directly at 336-349-1036. So we're here to hear from you because we represent each and every one of you.
Absolutely, and you do a phenomenal job at that.
Thank you.
We just talked about that on the last show, that you will stop everything to make sure that something is being taken care of. So you're doing a phenomenal job, and we love you for it.
Thank you.
All right, folks, that is it for today's News and Views. As always, you can find us in the heart of beautiful downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street. You can find us at reidsvillechamber.org and all of our social media channels. And stay tuned. We will see you really soon.